Welcome to Down to Earth Astrology and Primal Girl Wellness. I am Miss Jenny, and I am an astrologer. This is the monthly horoscope for August 2022, but before we get started, let's recap. So, Ivana Trump has died, apparently by blunt force trauma to the chest from falling down her stairs. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, you know I'm not, but if I were, boy, those wheels and gears would be spinning now, because the last I heard, when you fall down a flight of steps, typically you're more likely to die from, I don't know, a broken neck or bleeding out because you've broken something than you are by blunt force trauma to the chest. Because, my friends, your chest wall is designed to be a giant suit of armor cage to protect your heart. You can die from someone hitting you in the chest hard enough, but typically we're talking about I don't know, like getting hit with a baseball, so right smack over the heart on the chest at about like 120 miles per hour, right? Or maybe being hit with a baseball bat. So, I mean, granted, she was older, but she was in robust health. She was very active. So I'm kind of thinking that for her to fall and then die from the impact to her chest, which would imply that it caused a heart attack, I don't know. I'm kind of guessing she would have had to trip and fall down those steps at a pretty high rate of speed, like, if someone pushed you. So I'm just saying, and it came in an awfully convenient time. So there's that. Now, the thing that's interesting, I want you guys to watch this, right? Ivana and Donald, even after their divorce, remained friends. Like, to the day she died, they were friends. Even when it's in the White House, she was calling him on a weekly basis with no security clearance, whatever. Like, she just had her own private direct line to the Don. So they were very, very close. Now, we know Donald Trump's a Gemini, and for Geminis, this communication and conversation, meeting of the minds, is extremely important to them. And it is also for other signs as well. But with Gemini, it's literally they need that back and forth passing kind of, chit chat with someone, and preferably someone who understands them and can keep them interested, and move from topic to topic to topic very, very quickly. They hate being bored. They hate long, tedious, which is why he couldn't read anything longer than a paragraph. Literally a attention span of a squirrel. Or you have to have the ability to listen, because if you're not talking and keeping them interested in the conversation, you should at least be able to listen to them go on and on and on and on about whatever their passing moments of attention catches. In any event, I still say, I have said before, and I still say, I'll put the link below for their relationship astrology, that Ivana Trump literally was like Donald Trump's soulmate. These two were literally meant for each other, hand in glove. And it is because of Ivana that Donald Trump went from struggling real estate person to a mega mogul with casinos, because Ivana was fluent in Russian and just as money grubbing as he was. Rest in peace. I'm sorry for speaking ill of the dead. It's just an observation. But she was. The difference is that she was charming. She spoke fluent Russian, and she had a good head for business. So it is literally her business savvy that built those casinos, and her ability to negotiate and communicate in Russian that helped him get the investors that he needed. Because if you were going to launder large amounts of money, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, but like everybody else, I watch movies. I'm kind of thinking casinos are a great place to launder money. And if you were Russian and had lots and lots of Russian mob money you wanted to launder, I'm thinking casinos would be a good place, right? And casinos are very heavily regulated and controlled, so I don't know, maybe that makes it a little difficult for them to own a casino without even looking even more suspicious. I'm just saying. So now here's the important part. I want you guys to watch this. Donald Trump has no friends. Donald Trump has no friends. He also doesn't really have any family he can trust now, because all his kids have basically either let him down or thrown him under the bus. Ivanka. So this is very difficult for somebody with all that Gemini charts. He needs someone he can bounce ideas off of and talk to and kind of be a touchstone for reality. And that's what Ivana was. I would bet you a paycheck that's what Ivana was. Ivana was his touchstone for the reality. Kind of kept him in connection with the world around him, and also kept him sane, or at least manageable. And those weekly phone calls their entire lives, even after the divorce, is testament to how close they were and how much he needed her. Because remember, he doesn't need or want or care for anybody except his reflection, and his adoring fans. And you're not friends with your fans because you don't have that kind of relationship. You're performing for your fans. But Ivana was a friend, right? And now she's not there. So now Mr. Gemini doesn't have anyone to talk to. He has no one to confide in, no one he can trust, no one he can talk to, and more importantly, no one who understands him. Okay? Which means that I would wholly expect this man to completely unravel a lot faster than anybody expects, and certainly within the next year or so. All right, grief does funny things to people, but in his particular case, this is grief and isolation in one of the worst times of his life. So he's literally out on a little ice floe in the Antarctic by himself with penguins, waving as he passes by. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And most of the time, like, you won't think about it unless you've ever been in a position where you have not had anyone to talk to. You don't have any family around you, or the family that you have relationships with, right? You don't have any friends. I know sometimes it happens, right? Especially if you move to new places. If you've never left your hometown, you don't know what this feels like. But if you've ever moved someplace completely foreign from where you are, you don't have any friends. Typically, you don't have any friends there unless you knew friends before you got there. So if you have no family to speak of, or family relations, you live by yourself and you have no friends, maybe all your friends have died because you're older, or maybe you're a sociopath, like who doesn't have good people surrounding him to begin with, or 100 other reasons. But if you've never been really alone and isolated with no one to talk to who understands you and supports you, then you have no idea how tremendously huge an impact the one person you had to talk to leaving is. It's a very, very big deal. So I don't expect Donald's going to fare well after her death now. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. But Gemini's, man, I'm telling you, they need people to talk to, and she was it. She's not there anymore. He's got no one now. No one. So there's that. In the meantime, in other places, here in the United States, the whole criminal clown posse car, one by one, is getting shuffled off to jail. Bye, Steve Bannon. So we can expect a lot more of that going on. And hoo boy, howdy, it's a party now. So all of the creepy, awful administration around Donald Trump. Remember, it's not Donald as much as his administration that is equally or more guilty of masterminding a whole lot of really ugly, ugly policies in this country. Here's looking at you, Steve Miller, you racist piece of crap. So they're going after the Hydra's head, but the rest of them will go with them. They're all connected like little magnetic filings. The Pied Piper is taking those rats out to sea. So for those people who were, diehard, ride or die Trumpsters in the administration, they're literally connected to them. So imagine the story for the children, the Pied Piper, playing his little pipe as the rats follow him out to sea to drown, except this is going to be, who heading out to sea, to drown in prison if he makes it that far. I don't think he'll live that long. But they're all attached to him, and it's going to be by shackles. So I could be wrong, but we'll see. But hoo boy howdy, it's a party now. Okay, in the meantime, across the globe, we have, good grief, we've got wildfires, we have droughts, we have, psychopaths in Russia trying to, pummel the great farmlands of the Ukraine into nothing, so we all starve. And of course, greed will kill us all because corporations globally, based in the United States, based in other places, but corporations globally, or with global operations, are absolutely doing a last chance grasp at whatever they can get, like those game shows where people are in this tank with a fan blowing, there's money flying around, they're grabbing for everything. So they're all doing that at our expense. I don't understand what they're thinking, because at the end of the day, who do they think is cooking their food and cleaning their houses and washing and maintaining their cars and their lawns and all the menial tasks that they don't want to do themselves? Do they not think that the people they're hurting are also the same ones that work for them and know where they live and have access to their food, their water supply, their kids, their cars? What are you thinking, right? I mean, how much do you think you could squeeze a person before they snap? Except this is a whole bunch of people you're squeezing. So I don't know. Maybe by then they'll have afforded AI robots to do all that work. They won't have to have anybody in their house or around them that deals with this stuff. So yeah, oh boy howdy, it's a party now. So here's what I want to give you for August. So the first thing is, everybody's under, I could theoretically make this a big gloom and doom, like, oh my God, big scary cats falling from the sky prediction just to get eyeballs on the video. But I'm not going to do that because we're already at our limit. Everybody, if you're not already having your breakdown, you're doing it now. Like this has been a long, slow process. And I'm watching with people I know that are typically not quite so bad. I mean, they were always a little like, woohoo, but now they're really like, wee, woo wee. So, I'm not going to alarm people more than they already are. We're tired. Our adrenal systems are tired. We don't need more cortisol coursing through our system. So I'll give you the dates to watch out for, and I'm going to give you some good news about August. Okay, so the first thing is I want you to watch this first week of August. Now, there is a Mars-Uranus conjunction at the same time that we're having a quarter moon involving a quarter moon T-square, involving Uranus. Oh my God. Now, that sounds terrifying because it's like, oh my God, Uranus, planet of electrocution. But it's not bad because Uranus is the truth bringer and Uranus breaks up impasses and stalemates. And Uranus is that flash of illumination that gives you that one moment of clarity in darkness where you can, for a moment, see the playing field. You can see miles and miles ahead and around you. Okay? It's up to you to pay attention. So, during this first week of August, we can expect some illuminating things to happen. They may come as quite a shock, right? Now, for those of you who've been watching the January 6th hearings, on the one hand, none of this has been a surprise for some of us. Like, yeah, okay, well, we knew, now here's the proof. But I imagine for other people, like, this has been quite the shock. Like, what? Well, yeah. But we're not talking that kind of thing. This whole first week of August, we've got some real, like, bombshells exploding in the air, some firecrackers and bombshells happening. But it will clear the way because it is setting up some stuff coming up behind it that's going to help really make things move forward, progress in life. But that first week, be very, very careful. Expect people to be more hair trigger tempered than usual. For those of you who don't speak English or American English, hair trigger is slang for something that's very, very quick, right? So a hair trigger, they used to refer to it for gunfighting in the Old West with the cowboys, right? So a hair trigger finger meant that you could literally pull the trigger on a gun so fast, it was like just moving a hair, just a hair's breadth away from pulling a trigger. So now when we say hair trigger or hair trigger temper, what we mean is somebody who can lose their temper literally faster than that, right? So expect a lot of that the first week of August and plan accordingly. So what that means obviously is to be gentle and keep a safe distance and be prepared for people to just unexpectedly go off, right? Just go off. So wear your asbestos covered panties this week. And definitely give yourself some space and be more diplomatic than usual because we don't know who's going to go off like a firecracker or popcorn in a popcorn machine. And it doesn't really matter because poor judgment affects everybody. So we don't want to get in any of the splashback from somebody else's poor judgment. So be diplomatic. Especially if it's something that is obvious truth to you but not necessarily to other people. Just went through this. And I'm saying this because I work a gig and they were actually charging me $9 for the privilege of accessing the app on my phone to check my schedule. That's it, just to view it. I can't change anything. I can't add notes. I literally have no ability on this app other than going in and seeing when I might have been scheduled for something. That's it, just a viewing privilege. They're charging me $9 for that. So when I said, are you crazy? Like this ridiculous, this doesn't even make sense. You're charging me $9 to look at my schedule. That's insane. I can't make notes. I can't adjust my schedule. I can't do anything except look at my schedule. And you're charging me $9 for this? Needless to say, the person who owns the company lost their crap. Well, what? So I didn't respond. I'm just like, thank you, kind of thing. But boy, they caught a case of because you're doing wrong. You money grubbing, greedy, frickin' monkey claw. Jesus, $9 just for the privilege of looking at your schedule on your phone instead of like on paper. This is why I will never have a business with employees. I'm not money grubbing enough, apparently. Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry. Little rant. Okay, now, as we go through the month, some things that are going to happen this month. Mercury's moving fast fast. Woo! Moving fast like grease lightning. From August 4th to August 26th, Mercury will be in its home sign of Virgo, which will be very, very powerful and very important. So, to get a little highliner and mark your calendars from the 4th to the 26th, this is an excellent, excellent time to take a closer look at the fine print, any agreements for anything, and also anything that requires detailed work. Have very, very careful consideration because you only get one chance to do it right. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. This isn't to say that anything before the 4th or after 26 is going to be bad. It just means that if you really want that extra boost to get it right, ooh, shaking. That's those couple of weeks are the time to do it. Also, too, with Mercury in its own sign between the 4th and 26th, you can also expect, well, no, I'm not going to say you can expect. I just say, no, we'll just leave it at that. When Mercury hits 0 Libra on the 26th, also make a circle around that date. That is a very important date. Mercury will hit the Aries degree from the other side. Because the Aries degree is 0 Aries, but it will be at 0 Libra, activating it. So we can expect something of some considerable import to occur around this time. And I say that also because around the 26th, we've got some major activity that I'm going to get to in a minute. So mark that circle, that date, the 26th. Venus will be in lovey-dovey, squeezy-peasy Cancer until the 12th. So these first 2 weeks of August will be very emotional weeks. And again, some people are going to have hair trigger tempers, so very volatile. Some people will be very volatile and very unpredictable at this time. And literally getting a whole bunch of feelings, having a whole bunch of feelings about a whole bunch of stuff that just doesn't amount to anything. So be aware that some people are just going to be a little more sensitive than others. And irrationally so. When we get down to Venus approaching Pluto, which will be closer to like the 10th, right? That's when you really want to watch, because the 11th, we have a full moon at 19 Aquarius. It will set up a T-square to Uranus. So Venus being in the last degrees of Cancer, opposing Pluto, while we're having a full moon involving Saturn and Uranus and Mars. No, not Uranus, sorry, it will be Mars. It will be Mars. So it's the full moon involving Saturn and Mars, while Venus is opposing Pluto around the 10th and 11th and 12th. So those 3 days, big red square around those 3 days. Ooh-wee, watch where you step. Make sure you don't accidentally step on somebody's toes or their feelings. We got some big stuff that's coming up. Now, remember I said this first week of the month, we may have some stuff that becomes illuminated, right? And brought to like crystal clear clarity. When we get down to this full moon, which will be on the 11th, this particular full moon, that's what all this first week is going to set up. So this will all come to culmination or head around the 11th, and decisions and organized, deliberate, conscious plans of actions will be taken to address things. So for those of you who've been up to no good, well, I don't know where you're going to hide. But for those of you who have been waiting for something, anything, for the love of God, will somebody fix this? Like, this is, we're looking at it. It's coming. It's coming, baby. It's coming, because hooey hell, baby, it's a party now. Sorry. So Mars is moving through Taurus until about the 20th. And the 21st is going to head into Gemini, so it'll be a lighter, brighter, and possibly more chaotic, confusing time. Mars in Taurus is a slow, plodding placement. It's very deliberate, sure-footed, like one foot in front of the other, kind of moving at the speed of a melting glacier before climate change. Once it goes into Gemini, it's much more light and light-footed and airy-fairy, moving around like at the speed of light, like fairies in the field kind of thing. But that can also lead to more chaos and confusion because, it wants to be everywhere all at once. So up until the 21st, things are going to move at a predictable, reasonable pace that we can manage. Once we get to the 21st and Mars goes into Gemini, it's going to be all hands on deck, because the motor mouths, are going to be out in force and empowered. And I specifically am referring to especially politicians and people in Congress, because people in Congress are politicians, and politicians, even at your local level working up, are all motor mouths. They all have strong Gemini in their chart. Lawyers have strong Gemini in their chart. Strong Gemini people are going to be out in force, like running their mouths, like their life depended on it, and not necessarily getting anything accomplished or helping anything for the rest of us. So consider that. All right. Jupiter will be retrograde in Aries. No news there. Saturn is still retrograde in Aquarius. No news there. Uranus is going to be turning direct at the end of the month. So this whole month we are Uranus ruled. So watch. Yes, I see you. Watch what's going on and what's happening through the month, because all this stuff, these little explosions and these little lightning strikes may be revelatory or revealing of much bigger things to come. Neptune is again retrograde. It's still in Pisces. No news there. Pluto is also retrograde in Capricorn. No news there. So this is the quick and dirty. This is the quick and dirty horoscope for August. Now, just want to point out also too, as we get down to the end of the month, we will have a new moon on the 27th at 4 Virgo. Now, this particular new moon is going to be auspicious because Uranus will officially station direct on the 24th, and Venus will hit that 0 Aries point at 0 Libra on the 26th. So from the 24th to the 22nd to the 27th, mark your calendars. That's going to be a very, very powerful week with all sorts of big tectonic plates shifting. So we can expect some things to happen that will be very, very hard to undo, and also will be indicative of a brand new big cycle starting. So there's that, my friends. Nothing to be alarmed about. Big stuff happening. Things are moving to place. This August, what I would say is, outside of those dates that I've asked you to circle on your calendars, we should have a relatively, really nice month. The planets are making some beautiful aspects to each other. So it will be manageable. And right now, more than anything else, we need manageable, all right? So it will be manageable. It will be even pleasant in many ways. And there will be a much greater feeling of support and understanding and tolerance. I think maybe because we're all kind of tired now, right? But also, too, there will be less resistance to the truth. There will be less of this stupid, like black or white kind of, it's this or it's that. Now, during the rest of the month, there will be less need to stand up with spears and, swords to fight to the death for that one principle. And more of an understanding that, yes, this is true, but under these circumstances, this is kind of where it's getting a little muddy. And this is true too, but for the circumstances we're in right now, this is how we have to address it, right? Because it's not a one-size-fits-all truth. And it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. So we've actually got a lovely month ahead. I want you guys to enjoy this. And love your families and your friends. Enjoy them as much as you can. Go find something that feels good to do, that's life-affirming, and brings you joy and doesn't hurt people, right? And even better if it brings you into connection with other people. Also, too, I just want to say that this is a quiet mode. We're taking like a pause or a low beat in the music. And, haters are going to hate. And I'm sorry if some of these people feel this way. Jesus, what an empty, sad, pathetic world you have to live in. That hatred is the fuel that gets you out of bed in the morning. Just saying. Like, I feel for you. That's just got to be an awful way to live. And it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be. At any moment in time, you can pull your head out of your ass. I'm just saying. You can pull your head out of your ass and you can join the rest of us. And hey, howdy. It's a party now. But also, too, you can discover that there's more to you than that one thing that you feel like is being taken away from you. You are much bigger than that. You're much more sophisticated than that. And you're much more wonderful than that. But as long as you are wearing this cloak of hatred, right, and a singular identity, I am this and you won't let me be this and the whole world can go to hell, you're never going to have peace or joy in your life because you keep strangling it in the crib before it has a chance to actually develop somewhere in your life. And it's not just, listen, I'm not saying that this is just about the angry white Christian nationalists who are determined that this has to be a Christian country, and all their fantasies about, women being barefoot and pregnant so the he-men can go take over the world. I'm not talking about them exclusively. I'm referring to them, but not just them exclusively. I'm also talking about people who, for example, who play the victim card to gain power in situations way too often, right? I I believe that trans people should have rights, okay? But I also know that online and in online communities, there are a lot of trans identifying people, whether they are in real life or not. We don't know because it's online, right? But they are particularly, like everybody else, just as belligerent and abusive and insulting and hardline. It's this or it's that. You're either 100% with us or you're 100% against us. And that's just no, no, no. Okay? No. You guys definitely fall in where there are shades of gray to be considered. And it's the same thing with the feminists. Like there's a handful of feminists out there, the radical feminists are like, oh, men are the problem, blah, blah. You know, everybody, the people who take the most extreme positions and you're either 100% in, you're 100% out. And if you're 100% out, you're evil. Those kinds of people who have, like literally have the logic of a 3-year-old. No, that's not where it's at. That's not where it's at. That's where it's been for, 6 years now? But that's not where it's at. So this month, my friends, for those of you who are not in, toddler logic, 101 here, this is going to be a great month. So enjoy your friends and your family and your pleasures of your life where you can find them. We will get through this. This is all temporary. We will get through this. And that's it. This has been the August horoscope for 2022. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I will do the chart of J-Lo and Ben Affleck and their new marriage. But I want them and you to be able to enjoy their honeymoon. We're not on a honeymoon with them, but we can certainly enjoy the optimistic suggestion of romance, and lifelong romance. And I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I will say, anybody who's ever been married can tell you there's the romance part when you first get married, and then there's the reality part after you've been married a while, right? They're not always the same thing. So, let's enjoy this moment of, true love bubbles time with J-Lo and Ben. And we'll look at marriage and how marriages function and where we run into problems later in the day. Now, they both, interestingly enough, for those of you who do a little astrology, they both got married. They both reconnected under a Venus cycle, strong Venus cycle. I think it was a Venus I can't talk this morning. It was under strong Venus cycle because we covered it when we did the charts for J-Lo and Ben in her, the many loves of Jennifer Lopez. We covered the cycles that they were in when they came back together again, and they got married under a very strong Venus cycle as well. Venus is very, very prominent in the marriage chart, and I believe, I have to double check, but I believe that it also connects to their personal Venuses. So there's a lot of Venus happening here, but Saturn, my friends, Saturn is what keeps a marriage together, for good or bad. So we'll take a look at that later. All right. So enjoy your August. Make the best out of it. Remember that first week, just be very diplomatic and understand that, people are going to have, some people, not all people, some people are going to have hair trigger like tempers. Be very diplomatic, give a lot of space, and understand that first week is setting us up for some absolute actions, committed, organized, clear thinking actions the following week. And by the time we get to the end of the week, the middle of the month with the full moon will be particularly dicey. Be careful. And the end of the month will set us up for new cycles. So watch, take notes. We'll see you later.